semantics. I don't want to lose that. So what's happening with coding? I don't think coding is going to disappear. We still play chess. Although machines beat us every single time. We still run, we still cycle, we still sail, even though engines are faster and more efficient. Efficiency was never the point, experience was. Only because something is no longer efficient, the most efficient path, it doesn't make it worthless. Coding will stay, not because it's the fastest way to build software, but because it's a powerful way to train a certain kind of thinking. Coding teaches precision, logic, patience. It teaches you what it feels when the computer does exactly what you told it to do. Maybe one day, we'll even start valuing software that was handmade because it is not efficient. It's intentional. And there's another reason coding still matters. AI makes mistakes. It will make few of them over time, granted, but it won't make zero. And the last few percentages between almost correct and actually correct are expensive and valuable. That's where people who truly understand code become incredibly valuable. Not to write everything, but to know what is wrong, to debug, to verify, to close the gap. Now here's the part that took me longer to see. I've been talking about programmers, developers, my world. But this story isn't just about programming. Programming is just the first frontier. The first profession where AI became good enough to challenge what we thought makes us valuable. We are the canary in the coal mine, and nowadays, the coal mine is everywhere. Think about it. What I described, this grief, this identity crisis, this question of what's left for me, designers are asking it now. Writers are asking it, translators, lawyers, accountants, architects, even doctors are asking it. Because AI doesn't just write code, it writes contracts. It generates images, it drafts legal briefs, it analyzes X-rays. And in every single one of those fields, people are going through the same emotional journey that I went through. First, denial. AI can't do that. Then fear. Wait, maybe it can? Then grief. But I love doing that. And finally, hopefully, a kind of redefinition. What was I actually in love with? And how do I keep doing that? The carpenter I mentioned earlier, that's not just a metaphor for programmers. That's every knowledge worker watching AI getting better at their thing that kept them, that they spent mastering years. But here's what I've learned from being in the front line. The answer is not to fight the tool. The answer is to find the layer above it. For me, that layer was, I'm not just a coder, I'm a developer. For a designer, it might be, I'm not a pixel pusher, I'm a visual thinker. For a writer, it is, I'm not a sentence crafter, I'm a storyteller. And for a doctor, I'm not a diagnosis machine, but I'm a healer who understands context, fear, and hope. Every profession will have to find its own version of that sentence, and that's uncomfortable because it forces us to ask, what is the essence of what we do? What part of my work is irreplaceable? Maybe not just because the machine can't do it, but because it shouldn't. Programming got there first, but the rest of the world will follow. This brings me to teaching. Because if my identity as a developer has changed, then what I pass on has to change too. When my identity as a developer changes, what I teach has to change with it. So, does it still make sense to learn coding without AI? Yes, absolutely. We teach so many things, not because everyone will turn pro, but because they shape how we think. Not everybody who writes an essay will become a professional writer. Not everybody who learns calculus will become a mathematician, and not everybody who sings in a choir will earn money by singing. And not everybody who learns programming needs to become a professional software engineer. Coding can be part of a general education, like math, like language, like music, because it builds a certain kind of thinking. But how we teach it must change. Because with AI, natural language becomes a programming interface. And this is the thesis that I want you to remember from this talk. The new programming language is clarity. For years, programming was about translating ideas into syntax, but syntax is no longer the bottleneck. Clarity is the new bottleneck. Can you describe what you want? Can you provide examples? Can you set constraints? Can you explain what good looks to you? Can you test whether the result matches the intent? Communication becomes a technical skill. Diagrams matter, examples matter, shared understandings matter. And that changes what learning programming means in 2026. It's not only can you write code, it's also can you express intent so that an AI can execute what you want. And there's the thing, that's not just true for programming. When a lawyer uses AI, clarity matters. When a designer prompts an image generator, clarity matters. When a manager delegates tasks to AI agents, clarity matters. The skill of turning a fuzzy idea into a precise specification that used to be programmer superpowers. But now it's becoming a universal requirement. So here's where I landed after that evening on my desk. I didn't stop teaching, but I stopped thinking myself of somebody who teaches syntax. I teach agency. I teach clarity and the craft turning ideas into reality across abstraction layers. I still love coding. I genuinely love it. But I no longer define my entire professional life, my entire professional identity with it. Because the center has moved, and that's okay. Because I'm not just a coder. I'm a developer. And my new programming language is clarity. Thank you.